everyone! Today I thought I'd make a card for you entirely out of scrap paper. I know my drawer is overflowing with scraps. So I picked out a bunch of different pieces. They're all approximately an inch wide and they vary in length. So these are the different pieces. I'm just going to show you how I'm going to lay them out on the card. The card is a standard size, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I'm just going to lay them out in kind of a quirky background. Okay, so it's going to look something like this. But before I glue them down, I'm going to end up cutting them. The one on the left-hand side, I like the length of that, so I'm just going to measure that. It's 3 1/4, so I'm not going to cut this one. Okay, so I went ahead and cut all my pieces, and now I'm going to show you how I'm going to lay them out on my card. So again, I'm just approximating how I want them to look, and when I glue them down it may not look the same, but just getting the general idea, making sure everything looks okay with the lengths. Before I glue it down though, I'm going to go ahead and draw a border around the card, so that way there's, you know, an even measure, so I'm going to draw that at 1/2 inch. Okay, so I have my light pencil border. I can go ahead and glue down my pieces. I'm just going to use a regular tape runner adhesive. And this one I'm going to angle slightly, and then each next piece that I put down I'm going to change the angle of it, so they're kind of quirky. Well, you saw how I did it. So I'll take the next piece, glue them all down. Oops. One thing I am doing is making sure to center it from that top and bottom line to make sure it's even along the card. Next piece. Alright, and my last piece, we'll go ahead and get that glued down. That way. Alright, so they're not very precise. I mean, it looked like I was putting them down precisely, but a nice quirky background we've got. I'm going to go ahead and erase my pencil lines. Okay, so they're all erased now. Let me get all the eraser crumbs off my paper. Right, so the next step is to figure out the placement of the lines here. And to break it up, because there's a lot of patterns going on, I'm going to put this circle behind it to kind of give the eye a bit of a break from all the patterns, allow you to differentiate between the pieces. I'm just going to figure out which direction I want this piece going. I like the little cut-off flower. I think it gives a nice addition to the card. So I just need to figure out where I want it. So I don't like it covered up like that. So I'll have to put it this way. Yeah. Okay. So we'll do that. I'm going to scallop punch this piece of paper here. It's just Fisker's scallop border punch. Oops, I'll fix that. Okay, so that's all set. Get all these pieces out of the way. Right. So I'm just going to line this up how I think I want it. Okay, that looks good. So now let's figure out where I'm going to put my sentiment. I thought I wanted it on the blue. Now I'm not so sure it's going to fit. So let's test it. Alright, yeah, no, that's not gonna fit. Okay, so no, I guess it's gonna have to go up here, but that's okay because I'm just gonna emboss it anyway, so you'll still be able to see it. Alright, next step, I'm just gonna define the circle a little bit more by inking around the edges. So I'm just gonna use some Tim Holtz Distress ink and foam applicator. And ink around the edges. The Distress ink is in Walnut Stone. Okay. Right. So this is going to go right here on the card. I can go ahead and get that glued down right now. It's pretty much going to get centered in the card, so I'm not going to measure it this time, I'm just going to approximate it. Right. I think that looks good. This one will go up here, and scallop below it. I'm just going to measure where the scallop's going to go. We can get that glued down to the card. Line it up with my pencil mark. Alright. Next I'm going to put our sentiment onto the piece of paper. Get it on an acrylic block. And for this I'm going to use Versamark ink because it's nice and sticky. And I'm also going to use an anti-static bag. It's just by Inkadoo. Ink up my stamp here. And we'll get that onto the paper. Then I'm just going to use some regular white embossing powder and emboss the image. Flick off any extra and emboss it. Okay, so that's all embossed now. I'm just gonna bend it a little to get away the warp. And I'm gonna go ahead and adhere it to the card. Line it up as best I can. Again, you could measure this, but I just chose not to. Sometimes my best cards come out even when I didn't measure a thing, so get that stuck down all nice. And just trim out the edges. There's a little overhang on the side.